In this lesson, we're going to use Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 2 and 3 to see 4 ways that we can use activities to teach biblical truths. In these verses, we see the importance of reflecting on experiences. Remember that by the term reflection. We're also going to intentionally design experiences to meet participants' needs and the principle of intentionality. Our third principle is the principle of transparency, and we want to remember that we are trying to create an atmosphere of openness and sharing. And then we will look at transference, which has to do with connecting experiences and biblical truths to our everyday life. So let's begin. God wanted to teach the Israelites about trusting God. The way he did that was he sent them an experience in the wilderness. And in Deuteronomy chapter 8, Moses is preparing the next generation to get ready to enter into the promised land. They've wandered for 40 years in the wilderness with their parents and their grandparents who all died. And now this younger generation is getting ready to go in and conquer the land. And Moses tells them in Deuteronomy 8, 2 and 3, "And you shall remember that the Lord your God led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble you and to test you, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep God's commandments or not. So he humbled you, and he allowed you to hunger, and he fed you with manna, which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Lord." So the first thing we want to think about is reflection. Reflect on experiences. Moses told the young Israelites, "I want you to remember." All throughout Scripture, God is telling his people to consider, to think about, to meditate upon, and to remember the things that God has done and what we can learn from the Scriptures. We draw wisdom when we start to reflect and meditate on these things. Now, when we do an activity, by simply asking a reflection question, we can pull out wisdom and learning from that activity. Many times people just fail to reflect. In experiential learning, the basic definition of it is to do learning by doing with reflection. So the reflective process is thinking about experiences, and we can do that before, during, and after. When we do it before, it's called front-loading sometimes, and I really like to do that. I like to start an activity by sharing a Bible verse or sharing a topic or a concept that I want to talk about later on, after, or maybe during the activity. And that way people can be thinking about how they can relate the activity to their spiritual walk or to Scripture. Well, there are basic ways to reflect on experiences. When I'm studying the Bible, I like to use observation, interpretation, and application. I observe what's going on in the passage. I interpret, what does that mean? What does it mean to the people in that passage or that are reading that passage? And then what does that mean to me, the application aspect of it? So in that simple way, there are 3 basic types of questions that relate to that. What type questions, so what type questions, and now what type questions. When we're doing an activity, you have to observe and pay attention and say, what took place? How was the group successful? Why did the group fail? Or where did the group struggle? Those are what type questions. And then you say, well, so what? They didn't have good unity, so therefore they weren't able to accomplish the activity. They failed in communication, or maybe they were very encouraging in their communication, so therefore they were effective and had a good activity, or they were successful. Those are the so what type questions. And then the now what is connecting those things to biblical truths that apply to our everyday life. So how does this, what we learned in this activity, affect my friends at school, the people that I work with at church, the youth group that I'm in, the family and the situation in my home? So we want to connect those things to everyday life. That leads us to our second principle, intentionality. We want to learn to intentionally design experiences to meet participants' needs. In our verses, it says that you shall remember that the Lord your God led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness. You see, God intentionally led the Israelites into the wilderness to teach them certain lessons. He allowed them to go hungry. He allowed them to be thirsty. He put them in situations where they had an opportunity to trust God. You see, in all of those situations, God intentionally put them there so that he could see what was going to happen. What would they respond? How would they respond? When we do an activity, if you can cater the activity by considering the participants' needs, like what is their age group? Is it a mixed gender group, or is it one gender? What is the skill level of your participants? The greater the skill, the greater the level of difficulty you can provide for your participants. How many people are you working with? Is it 5 people, 10 people, 30 people, 100 people? You need to know and cater your activity, intentionally design it to meet the needs of those participants. God knew what their need was. The Israelites needed to trust God. So he put them in situations where they had to trust God. We should also consider the length and the order of the activity. It says for these 40 years. Now, we don't have 40 years to work with participants typically, but what we do need to do is understand how long is this activity? Am I reserving enough time in the activity to reflect on it? Sometimes we do activities and we don't have time to reflect because we didn't plan on enough time to reflect. We should consider the location and the physical setting of an activity. God intentionally took them into the wilderness where they weren't living in permanent homes. They were nomads. They were roaming from place to place. And that's why they didn't have water or they didn't have food at different points. Well, when we're designing activities, we need to think about the physical setting. Why did Jesus take the disciples up onto a mountain to pray or to go on a retreat or for the transfiguration? There were specific settings, even very special places like the Sea of Galilee or Mount Calvary where significant things took place. And God is always using physical settings and locations to enhance experiences, and we can do the same when we lead activities. When we intentionally design activities, I like to also use challenge-based experiences. I love to do adventure programming because even in this situation, the Israelites, they suffered hunger. They had stomachs that were growling, and they had tongues that were thirsty, and they were trying to understand why God would put them in this situation. They murmured and they complained. It really revealed what was in their heart. And that really leads us to our third principle here of transparency, that we need to, when we're leading activities, create an atmosphere of openness and sharing. You see, in those verses, that God says that He did these things that the Israelites might know what was in their heart. You see, God knows everything. He knew what was in their heart. He knew that they didn't trust Him, that they had doubts in there. But in that experience, their true response came out, and they failed miserably. They murmured, they complained. When we take participants and put them in challenging situations at the top of a 100-foot cliff, getting ready to step over the edge, rappelling, participants experience that same type of turmoil in their stomach. Their palms sweat, their legs shake, they get nervous. So what we do is we put them in those situations and see how they respond. Their outward actions demonstrate what was already in their hearts. And when we put people in activities, they respond in a natural way. So we observe how they respond, and then we're able to talk about that. And creating an atmosphere of openness and sharing means that when people experience anger, frustration, self-centeredness, or they lash out at another participant, then we're able to talk about that in an open and safe atmosphere where we can deal with things. So many times in church or in Bible studies, people put on a facade and they never really deal with the deeper issues. But good programming that uses activities to teach biblical truths creates an atmosphere of openness and sharing, so that other people can be transparent and talk about what's really going on underneath the surface. The last thing we want to think about here is transference. Transference says that we want to connect experiences and biblical truths to everyday life. Again, it says that in Deuteronomy 8:2 and 3, God does all these things that the Israelites might know. Okay? God is trying to make them know Him in a specific way. In every activity, in every experience in life, God is trying to make people know certain things about Himself, certain things about themselves, so that they can learn and grow from that. You see, when we transfer things from the activity to everyday life, we connect the dots. We start to have transformation that is meaningful and important. Greg Robinson says the real shortcoming of religious education is that it most often takes place so far away from real life situations. When we have campers or participants in an activity, they respond in natural ways, and we can deal with those things and then connect that to everyday life. As we review what we've learned, we've looked at Deuteronomy 8, 2, and 3, and saw 4 things that will help us to use activities to teach biblical truths. We looked at reflection. We need to reflect on experiences. We need to take time to reflect upon experiences. Intentionality. We need to intentionally design experiences to meet participants' needs. Consider their needs, the length and order of activities, the location and physical setting of activities, and even consider using challenge-based activities to help people to grow, to be more like Christ. We need to be using transparency, where we create an atmosphere of openness and sharing, where people can share what they're really feeling, be open and honest with one another. And then last, we want to think about transference, where we are connecting experiences and biblical truths to everyday life so that people can be transformed and conformed to the image of Christ. Why? Because life is for service.